Welcome to Make Your Mark, the podcast where we talk about real weight loss journeys, the ups, the downs, and everything in between. I'm Mark Fearon, and after 16 years, 10 stone, and a lot of lessons, I finally made my mark. This podcast is all about real people sharing their stories. No filters, no gimmicks, just honesty. Whether you're using medication, hitting the gym, counting calories, or just trying to figure it all out, you are in the right place. Welcome to episode 3 of Make Your Mark. This week, I'm starting by talking about my old all or nothing approach to dieting. How that mindset kept me stuck for years and has finally changed with the help of Mounjaro. I'll then be discussing recent news from Ireland, where the HSE has said that Mounjaro is not considered value for money and it won't be offered to people who need it. We'll look at what that means and the wider conversation around access to weight loss medication. After that, I'm joined by Paul, who shares his weight loss journey online. He opens up about a particularly difficult experience he's been through recently and how it's affected him both mentally and physically. And finally, I'll be talking about an Instagram video that breaks down whether you should be doing cardio before or after weights and what actually makes the most sense. It's a great episode. Let's get started. Before I get into my old ways of dieting, which was the 100% on a diet or 100% off it, just an apology about the lateness of this episode 3 appearing. Life has just been a little bit busy recently and it's been hard to find the time to do it. I do love making the podcast. I love, chatting to people about it. I like doing research, but it's just getting the time to do it. So apologies about that. I will try to keep them coming a little bit quicker. So this week's topic is something which I've only recently properly looked at and the damage it's really been causing my weight loss journey. And that is my 100% on a diet or 100% off it. That's the way I used to work. There was no grey area. It was like, I will not even have an extra piece of lettuce if it wasn't on my plan. If I went off plan and I had some chocolate, some ice cream, anything, that would be, there is no point at all in me eating well for the rest of the day. And that could end up being the rest of the weekend. And then that might be, I'll start at the end of the month. And it would trigger that. I could never just have, an afternoon off, one meal off, or even just a snack sometimes. That's all it would take to derail my whole plan. And it wouldn't matter what type of plan I was on. It made no difference. But I would always end up falling into that trap of, if I don't stick to my diet 100%, then there's no point. And it would also even affect my exercise. I'd be like, there's no point going to the gym because I ended up having a Mars bar that I didn't plan on having. So instead of going to the gym, I'll go home and I'll order a takeaway. And that is how it worked for me for so many years. And I said it made no difference if I was on keto, if I was just calorie counting, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. That's all it took. And it's only really since I started on Mounjaro that I kind of go, do you know what? I can have a dessert with my dinner that wasn't planned. And that does not mean that when I get home, I can then go and have a tub of Haagen-Dazs because, the desire is gone. And I'm learning now that it's nice just to have, one piece of chocolate or one small bar of chocolate as opposed to a giant bar and then more, and eating to the point where I would start to feel unwell from the amount of chocolate or ice cream or whatever it happened to be. And that is the big change from Mounjaro, is being able to just experience life that doesn't revolve around me having to strictly stick to a plan. And it's been an experience I've never really had before. And it makes sense. I mean, it makes so much more sense to look at your eating like this, because like I've mentioned before, if you're on Mounjaro and you come off Mounjaro and you go back to the way you used to eat, of course you're going to put the weight back on, no different to any other diet plan, just like I used to, because I would strictly work at any diet and then I'd come off it and it'd be like, well, I'm no longer on the diet, so I can go and have something else. And sure, I'll get back on the diet maybe in a week or 2 weeks or something like that. But Mounjaro is making me realize that no, life can be enjoyable, more enjoyable, if you just have a little bit of things you desire from time to time. It makes them, I don't know, like I actually enjoy the taste of them more, as opposed to, oh, let's get in as much now because I've gone off plan. And no matter what I would tell myself, I would always end up going way more than I'd planned. So I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm off plan now. That's okay. Look, enjoy the chocolate for the rest of the day today because tomorrow we'll get back on it. And I would always tell myself that. And sometimes I would get back on it, but a lot of times I wouldn't. And I just think it's ends up being such a damaging way to be when it comes to your diet. And look, I think that's how I've been in a lot of parts of my life as well. Growing up, I would 100% put myself, like my all into something or not. I remember my parents would always say to me, your bedroom, it would either be the biggest mess of a bedroom or it would be like in the perfect order. Every little toy would be in the perfect spot. Everything, there wouldn't be a crumb, there wouldn't be a bit of fluff, there would be nothing. It would be the perfect bedroom, or it would be the extreme. So I think I've always kind of been a bit like that with my life. And it's just starting to realize that and kind of go, no, it's important that things don't have to be to the extreme. And it is one thing I massively thank Mounjaro for, is letting me experience life in the grey, that it's okay. And now to realize that I enjoy it more this way, so that when I do come off Mounjaro, whenever that'll be, that I can continue living like that, because I can see now that it makes eating more enjoyable when I don't go to the excess. So I just thought that would be an interesting thing to say, because I'm sure I'm not the only one that's like that they are like gung-ho at being on a diet, and no matter what happens, they'll stick to it until they don't, and then it's disaster. And I think by just saying it, maybe people can realize, oh, hold on, that has been my approach. Maybe that's not right. That's not the right way to do it. Because I think people who don't have a weight problem, actually, that's how they live, that they can have a couple of crisps, they can have a little bit of chocolate, whereas there's a lot of us who can't just have that little bit. I'm sure there's a lot of us like that, because I was most definitely one of them. I just, even from mentioning it to others, I know that's how they feel as well. So that's what Mounjaro is great for. It lets you kind of realize what it's like to be someone who doesn't struggle with their weight, and then see that that's actually enjoyable. Not the overeating. That's not the enjoyable part. It's actually enjoying the food. So yeah, I just thought that would be just an interesting thing to talk about, because it's something that my eyes have been opened up to massively since starting on Mounjaro. If that's something that you feel that you also experience, let me know through my social medias or through messaging me here on the podcast. I'd just be interested to hear, are there a lot of others who feel that way about food, that they can 100% be good, and if they're not, then they're 100% bad, in that making the wrong food choices. I'm going to move on now, chatting about some news that was, I suppose it's about 2 weeks ago now when it first came out. And it's where the HSE, which is like the NHS in the UK, where they came out and said Mounjaro is not considered value for money and they won't be offering it to people who need it. I suppose, I understand why they would say that, because it is expensive. Prices are high, but I can see the benefit of Mounjaro. From somebody who used to weigh over 27 stone, which I did, the strain that is not on my body, and I truly can feel that now, that I can really feel the benefits to my body of not carrying around all this excess weight. And I just think, I don't know, if they looked at how much people are actually visiting hospital for, and how many of these people are actually overweight, and what a contribution that has been to the illness, I was surprised to hear that it was just like, no, they just won't do it, even up to maybe a particular dose. Because as the dosage goes up, it gets more expensive. But that they even said at the 5 milligram dose, which is basically just like it's just one move up from the starting dose, that even that dosage isn't value for money. And I'm like, there was no mention of could they subsidize it? You know, because even if they could take half the cost away from somebody who is going on Mounjaro, like people who truly need it, surely that is going to result in less people visiting hospital. Because again, I'm only speaking from my experience, but I like, it's hard to explain how much it's not a drain on my life. Like my breathing used to be bad, my heart rate used to be higher. I just always felt a strain on my body. That is gone. I mean, it's actually gone. So surely I was more susceptible to getting like many different illnesses or problems or problems with my heart or whatever. You know, surely there has to be um a balance, that even if they could subsidize it, and all I've heard from them is just that it's just a no, that it's just too expensive at the prices they are now. But could they not look at subsidizing it for people? Because I just think it's unfair that people who don't have enough money to pay for it, that they can't access it. I mean, that just doesn't seem right, because for me, Mounjaro is a life changing medication. It truly, truly is. And I think anybody who's been on it, again, who properly needed it, who needed to lose weight, who tried other ways, will tell you the exact same thing. And it's not fair, I do not believe, that it's not open to everybody who truly needs it. I think anybody who is in a bad place with their weight, and are not in a position to pay for it, surely there has to be some kind of a system that it could even be subsidized. And it just seemed to be that it was in the news. HSE said no, and that was the end of it. I didn't hear of any follow on. I didn't hear of any other suggestions about ways of making it available, even to those who, you know, are even in a worse position, that have a huge BMI. I don't know. I was surprised. I mean, I do, as I said at the beginning, I do understand that it is a very expensive medication, and if it was made available to everybody, you might have people trying to go on it who don't actually need it. But I think for those who are in need of it, who it will change their life, like it will make their lives so much better. And the fact that it's not available to them because of price, I think is wrong. And I think it needs to be revisited. It was in the news for a little bit. It's gone out of it again. And I think we need to look at ways that it could be put into the hands of those who truly do need it. Because I just do not feel it's right that certain people don't have access to something that is, I consider, a magic medication. I really, really do. So anyway, I'll keep an eye on that. I'm going to keep looking at kind of updates. I'm going to see if there is any progression in, like I said, the subsidy side of things, that maybe that's an approach that could happen. And I'll let you know if that progresses at all in future episodes. Next up, we have Paul, who's joining me now as my third guest, and I'm delighted that he's joining us. He's a great guy. I've loved following his Mounjaro journey on TikTok. He's a real positive guy, you know, and he's been through, in ways, a similar journey to so many of us, and it's an important story to hear. So thank you so much, Paul, for being here with me.
No, you're welcome. Thanks for inviting me. I'm excited.
Yeah, your first podcast as well, which is brilliant.
First of many. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah, no, definitely. I like, they actually become addictive. So yeah, so I could see you.
We'll see.
I could see Joe's. I could say I think you would suit a podcast very well, Joe. I could see you manning a podcast very soon in the future. So I'm honored to have you here today.
Thanks, mate.
So Joe, I came across you just by me, I suppose, looking online to get information about Mounjaro, because when I started, like most people, they've heard of it, but they mightn't know that much about it. And for me, what's the best way to learn about something? Get real stories from real people. So that's how I came across your page. I'm still getting to know your story, your journey. So I just have a couple of questions, if that's okay to ask you, just to get to know you.
Absolutely. Fire away, mate. Fire away. Let's get into it.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so look, I mean, starting off, how long have you been trying to lose weight? Like, has weight been something you've battled your entire life? Basically, at what stage then did you decide that Mounjaro was the right path for you to take?
I've been overweight since I was about 7 years old, to be honest. I was brought up with a mentality of whatever's on your plate, you finish that plate, no matter if it was piled high. I was in one of those families where at 7 years old, I could go out and order a full table, full Indian three-course meal, eat it all, and still go home and have ice cream. I was one of those kids. So I was always brought up with food around me. But it was getting to a point where it was just, I wasn't comfortable at my heaviest. I got up to 23 stone. It was getting to a point where I couldn't look in the mirror. I was embarrassed to even go outside. I couldn't order clothes without actually going online to get them. I tried Slimming World for 10 years, but it ended up just giving me a really unhealthy image of myself, of my relationship with food. Probably in 2023, I packed it all in. I just decided that this is it. This is enough for me. This is the way I'm going to be. There's nothing else I can do about it. This is my body. It is what it is. Someone then did ask me, a good friend, come to Weight Watchers in January with me of 2024, and I just thought it's points. It's all the same rehashed garbage. However, what I realised very quickly was is that they take it a lot more seriously than Slimming World. I've got my own thoughts on Slimming World. I don't want to dive into that today, but Weight Watchers sort of reconditioned me and how I understood eating and how I undone unhealthy habits I'd already got along the way from Slim World and just general emotional eating. It was going well. I probably lost about 2 stone between January and June. It was coming off. I was doing well, but it was starting to slow again. I could feel all those bad habits coming in. By this point, I'd heard about Mounjaro for about 2 years, on and off, online. The medication was kicking about, wasn't too sure. And then it was my husband. I just said, listen, I think I'm going to try Mounjaro. He was a little bit skeptical, and I was like, listen, let's just try it. And we did. The first medication was scary. It must have taken me about 20 minutes to get the courage up to actually do the injection.
Yeah,
Lots of getting chased around the kitchen that day. But
yeah,
that
yeah. I
was
remember that.
yeah, that was in like October 2024. We're now a year later and I've dropped 8 stone. So the rest is history, as they say it, mate.
Yeah, that's I would say it's just amazing and seeing your transformation photos online. Like it's yeah, there's just an incredible difference. Like really difference. But you can actually see a difference in happiness as well, even from a static
Yeah,
photo. You can be smiling in both photos, but you can tell, can't you? I think anyway, and that you
yeah.
can tell by a person.
It's just it's scary because sometimes you think you're comfortable in your own skin, but it's not till you lose weight you realise you actually had to lose weight, if that makes sense. So it was scary seeing that so obvious now because a lot of people have said that about my photographs. There's a complete shift in how I look and how I take a picture.
Yeah,
And it's nice to be able to take a picture when it's not just, that angle. You've not got a slim face filter. It's not at a
yeah,
certain space. So it's a lot more natural. I
yeah.
think that helps as well.
Definitely. I remember taking a photo. I would be holding my hand up nice and high. And I would always be looking
Hmm.
right down.
Yeah.
Or standing behind people or leaning forward. Yeah, it was all these tricks to try and just make your face look a bit skinnier or something.
Putting a cushion in front of you or doing that with your chin. All the tricks, man. All the tricks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I used to get my children and hold them in front of me. So I used those and sat behind them. Anything I could to try and make me feel.
Anything.
Yeah, yeah. It didn't matter. And actually, do you know what? I actually forgotten about this part? I remember when I seen your videos first. And it's
Mhm.
only you mentioning it now. It's actually something I've totally forgotten about until now. And it was the Weight Watchers side of things
Yeah.
because you continued with Weight Watchers, continued going for your weigh-ins. Is that something you stopped, or do you continue to do that? And what was
No,
your reasoning kind of behind it?
I still go. I do get a lot of knowledge and support, I guess, from Weight Watchers. It makes me accountable. I've got a thing in my head where I have to sort of show up to get weighed, and it means that I'm having to go to report someone that I've did it because I feel as if, and I've done it in the house myself, if I had scales in my house, I could just say, well, that wasn't a good day and just write it off, which I don't want to do. But if I'm having to go and report to people and turn up to a group and explain how my week's been, it has been really useful. And to be fair, like it's also useful from a social side, from a mental health side, because although like my journey's slightly different from people that are just on Weight Watchers, they get it. They understand the traumas that I've went through with it. And that's why I'll always go. I still go to this day. I don't think I'll ever give it up. I do need that sort of extra backup when times are hard with it. It does really help.
Yeah, it's great. And it's interesting. I tell you why, because I've actually kind of done that step now where I was using Mounjaro,
Yeah.
but I was kind of doing it by myself. Like I think most people do, that they just take the medication. But as I got down to where I wanted to be, I was kind of like, oh, I think I need help here. Like
Hmm.
I've lost weight in my life before. I've never in my life maintained. I like
Yeah.
that. Like you're saying with Weight Watchers, like I wanted to help implementing proper lifestyle changes, not just take the medication. So I've actually started going to a crowd called Unislim. It's an Irish version of say Weight Watchers, but it's the same kind of idea. And they actually have a part for people who are actually on weight loss medications. So it works great. But it's funny you
I think
mentioned
it's
that. Yeah.
with anyone as well. Like you'll always do better if you've got a support network around you. It doesn't always have to be friends and family. I think just being able to relate to people that have went through this and like you'll see it yourself, especially with TikTok, the community on there is amazing because everyone totally understands it, but they also understand the stigma against Manjaro as well. So it's so good to help that back up, and that's what helps to people achieve that goal because they're more likely to get to it if they've got that group behind them.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I'll jump. I was going to ask you about TikTok kind of a little bit
Mhm.
further on, but we've mentioned it now, so let's talk about it now. What was your reasoning behind sharing the journey on TikTok? Like, did you share your life like that before Manjaro, or was it you started Manjaro and you wanted to document it, or what was your thinking there?
It was a little bit of both. I did have another TikTok, but I think I discovered TikTok through COVID. It was just a way to sort of fill time, I guess, when everyone was in lockdown. When I started on Mounjaro, I didn't share it as such. I was quite secretive. It was all very much, it was pictures with words. It was never me. It was actually one of my friends now who actually contacted me to say, "Do you want to join this community? We're supporting each other." And it was actually through their support that made me realize, why am I keeping this a secret? What am I ashamed of here with this? Because I think as from a men's weight loss point of view, there wasn't a lot of men at that point when I came out to showing my Manjaro journey that were actually showing it as well. So it boosted that side of the community as well. And now I love it. And the feedback I get's been brilliant. And I think it's, again, it's another way to hold me to account if I'm filming my journey, my progress, because if something fails, I would rather be honest about sharing it because, yeah, the medication's brilliant. It does what it says, but it's not always perfect. And I think it's really important that people see that you still need to put the work in. That was one of the main factors for me going public, I guess, with it. And yeah, TikTok's been amazing. It's such a good platform, especially for this sort of thing, because it gets the word out really quickly.
Yeah, definitely. I'm the same. I use Instagram and Facebook probably more for this side of things. I started my weight loss journey 16 years ago, and only like a month ago I
Wow.
finally reached my goal. So I was sharing, and I shared it back at the beginning when Facebook was just getting going in 2009. So I've had a
Wow.
weight loss page since then. So I suppose as I use TikTok, I do, but for my weight loss side of things, it probably wouldn't be as busy, or sorry, it's not as busy as my Facebook and Instagram. Um, but like you said, for me, it's the accountability of it, and then
Yeah.
just being around people who themselves are going through similar journeys, and I think there is power in that.
Yeah, because like I know myself, I couldn't do this without a support network. I don't have the willpower or the strength, I guess, to do it on one. I couldn't. So having all this backup is forcing my hand to keep going with it. But it's been so worth it, so worth it.
Have you gotten any negativity? I mean, I definitely do get a small bit now. It's 95% positive, but there is the 5% you're putting your story out there. Have you had negative trolling or anything along those lines?
Oh, I love the cheaters. The ones that call you the cheater. That's the best
Yeah.
one. Just eat less, move more. I've heard it all, but it's like, I'm very much like, this, if it was only as easy as that for a lot of us, it's not, and it's, what I think Manjaro was doing is it's making people realize obesity should be treated as a disease, something that should be treated like that then needs medication. The same way that you've got a headache, you take a tablet. You've got a problem with your weight, you should be able to reach that same access as well. But I do get the odd troll, but now I'm very much like, just say what you want. You don't understand. I used to bite. I used to be like, okay, we'll have a fight back with that, but now I'm just like, whatever. Go and educate yourself first, and just let them find
Yeah.
out because they've landed on my page for a reason. Something in their algorithm has been they've been curious about it, so they'll find their own way. Let them go for it,
Yeah. Yeah, no, no, you're right. You're definitely right. And
man.
like that, I'm always like, what? What? Oh my! You should bring out a book. Ooh, what is it? Let me write it down. Move more. Okay, and eat
Yeah,
less. I have not tried that. I'm gonna give it a go.
no, I know. It's like
I'm not sure
that's
what
what
they
I'm missing. I should
expect.
have just done that.
Yeah, you are a genius. Oh,
Yeah,
you are
why
gonna
did no one say this?
make millions. But it's funny. I get those, but I do find it's less these days. I think the longer people have been on it, more people are talking about it, the more it's actually going. Hold on, like this works. This like there's something behind this. I think it is
Yeah.
helping anyway.
No,
Yeah,
absolutely. It's just it's really been a godsend, and I know there's a lot of changes with it, and it seems to be evolving with what Mounjaro can do and what the next steps will be. So I think it'll be interesting to see what it looks like even in 5 years and how society treats it, and because it's still quite fresh out there.
it is. It is, and you know, it's funny. My thing with Mounjaro has always been that my aim. Now, I'm not saying this is in concrete, but my aim was to be on it and to come off it.
Yeah.
I'm still in that mode of that's what I want to do. I found each month that I was on it, the effectiveness of it wore off. So I moved up. And again, I didn't mind because I didn't see it for me as a long-term medication. But I said
Hmm.
that could change. Yeah, so I suppose my kind of worry now, or no, sorry, not worry, but my unknown now is like, what's the next steps? Like, if people do want to come off it, should they come off it slowly? Should they come off it all at once?
Yeah.
Is there, that you take a break from it and you go back to it in a few months, or and I think a lot of people are on Manjaro now, but it's still very early days for people actually coming off it. Because anyone I've seen
Hmm.
come off it, and I'm talking like some of the bigger bloggers, like you see on the channels, most of them who came off it have gone back
Went back on
and
it.
said,
Yeah.
yeah. Have you any
I mean,
thoughts of where your future is with it?
I am actually terrified to come off it. Like, although like I've learned so many good habits and things, there's still that fear factor for me. Like, if I stop this, it's going to go back on. If there is an element of me like, come on, like I can do this without it. It's the medication isn't controlling this. I've learned all the things I have to do. I can manage it, but there's still that fear. Although now like I've moved from Manjaro to Wegovy, and that's been up and down on its own. But I think maybe at least till February, I'm going to stay on it. It is in the back of my head that I don't want to be on this all the time, but it's definitely a fear for me that if I come off it, it's going to go back on. That's
Yeah.
my only thing.
Okay. Yeah. I think we're in the same boat there, and I think probably most of us are as well.
Hmm.
I didn't realize. So you're no longer on Manjaro. You made the switch to Wegovy.
Yeah, about
Ah.
just just before the price change, I said, you know, I'll move the now, and it was hard going for about 6 weeks. I just was like, this isn't doing what I thought it would do. The weight wasn't moving, and then I had a little gain. Then I said, right, do you know what? I need to just go straight back to the beginning. I started tracking all my food, water, everything. 2 weeks ago, I dropped 6 pounds in 1 week. So I just thought, right, okay, give it a chance. And people in the comments, when I was talking about it on TikTok, were saying, let it settle into your system. It does take a little bit longer to start moving, and it does. It does make me feel different to Manjaro. I don't feel the food noise is strong, but I still get full quickly. Some cravings come back when we be like, I really want that, and then I'll have it, but I still can't eat it anyway. So the food noise isn't as much, but it's still restricting what I can eat in the right ways. But it's still
Ah.
taking a wee while to compare to it. It is interesting though, and it is still working, but yeah, money talks sadly, so I had to make the switch.
Yeah, no, look, absolutely. No, but that's great to hear because again, that was my kind of thing. Go maybe do Manjaro for a little bit, like another little bit, and then look at going to Wegovy. But again, a lot of people who, including the first person I had on, a lady called Freya, who was on the
Yeah,
first episode of the podcast, and she went to Wegovy, but didn't last long and went back to
yeah,
Manjaro. But from my looking at it now, I think, like you've done, I think people actually need to give it a chance.
I would say so.
And I think because I think she was saying like the first week was great, but she thought that might have been just that she was happy to be on a kind of a new medication. But then all of a sudden everything came back, and she only lasted another like 2 or 3 weeks before she switched.
I do think as well, judging by the way my mind works as well, I kind of blame myself a wee bit. There was a bit of self sabotage. because I was changing in my head, I thought, well, that's Mounjaro over. I'm going to put the weight on. So I don't actually think I even gave it a chance myself. And I wonder sometimes if people go into it with that mindset sometimes as well. It doesn't, I get it won't work for everyone, but when I'm thinking about maintenance, I'm actually not thinking about maintenance for Mounjaro. I'm thinking about maintenance on Wegovy because I do feel as if how my body reacts is a little bit softer. And I think that'll make it easier to come off it gradually as opposed to with Mounjaro. So they both get
Okay.
very good pros and they both get a couple of cons. So I would say for anyone that's doing the switch to Wegovy, try it and just give it a wee chance because it will work. It will work.
Okay, very interesting. Very interesting. That's great. Like that's
Mhm.
something new I've learned there because I didn't actually realize that about your journey, and I must have missed that from your post because it's funny. I said I'm up on 15 milligrams Manjaro now every month. As I said just there, I moved up because I found by week 3 or 4, I wasn't getting the effects of it. So I was like,
Yeah.
no, I'm moving up. Now it was an easier decision to move up back then because it was a lot cheaper. It's
Yeah.
not anymore. But I'm now about to finish my second month of being on 15, and I this week have noticed a big drop in its effectiveness. I feel my hunger coming back, which is fine. Which I don't mind. I mean, I think it's good to
Yeah.
be hungry,
Hmm.
but it wasn't as much there. Like as I've always gotten hungry throughout this journey, but kind of by dinner time I'd be like, okay, it's time for dinner. Like I was never one of these people
Yeah.
that would forget to eat, even on Manjaro. It's like
No. Yeah.
I would always eat. But I've just noticed, like even tonight, I had my dinner, but I'm sitting here and I'm actually still feeling a bit hungry, which I have not
Quite hungry.
had for over 6 months after having eaten. I'll just use it, I guess, to a point where I'm not feeling a whole lot from it. So it's going to be easier to come off it. I think it'd be harder to come off it if I was kind of not feeling any hunger. I was feeling great.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd
Do
be
you
interesting.
are you happy with the weight you're at now?
I'm as in my aim was to get to lose 10 stone, and I kind of lost
Hmm.
5 stone before Manjaro and 5 stone with Manjaro. I
Yeah.
wanted to kind of lose then another stone, but I've kind of lost kind of 6 pounds of that. So I'm getting pretty close. But what I want now is, and I have like the gym has been a very important part of my journey, and I'm
Yeah.
keeping my strength going and all that. But I kind of wanted to keep on working at that and getting my body fat levels down, and like kind of getting into maintenance and using Manjaro for maintenance and
Yeah.
then kind of come off it. So yeah, I'm happy with my weight now, but I would like to use a little bit more and I'd like to kind of keep
Yeah.
on getting fitter. So yeah, I don't know. Look, I think like I'll definitely be on it for another month. And then I think I'll just have to make a call from it there and
Yeah.
see. But yeah, but I am worried. I am,
Yeah.
hands up, I'm worried about
Me too.
um yeah, but I think, I mean, like you doing your work with Weight Watchers, and I said me now working with the company I'm with,
Hmm.
I think they're the important steps to put in, especially at this stage of the journey. Look, Mounjaro and Wegovy weight loss medications are no different from any other, say, restrictive diet plan you go on. People go, oh, if you stop the
Exactly.
Manjaro, you stop Wegovy, you'll put all the weight back on. Yeah, but tell me one diet in the world that if you go on that you won't put the
It's
weight
going to
back on. It's
happen.
no, yeah, like it's no different. Like there's no difference. If you put in the plans and stick to the calories, well then you won't put the weight back on. So
Yeah.
it's yeah.
It comes to
So
a point
we'll
as well where
see.
you need a bit of willpower as well sometimes. And I'm very much like, although my weight loss isn't as quick as it used to be, I'm now in the mindset of where I don't lose as much because I don't have as much to lose. So the medication is I'm kind of probably at maintenance without wanting to be at maintenance anyway. So that's the kind of mindset I'm in with it. So that's why I think once it's just balances itself out, then I'll say, right, okay, let's try this ourselves. Surely
Yeah.
we must be able to have a go.
Yeah. No, for sure, for sure. And Joe, there was you've had to have. I mean, you've had a really difficult recent time that you've gone
Yeah.
through. Something really, really difficult with your mum.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're just comfortable mentioning that for just a minute, and it's just
No, of course.
I'm like I can't imagine how difficult would be. But I
Yeah.
still have my mum, and just how for so many people that could derail kind of everything, and like has that. I suppose like how have you managed that, and kind of kept yourself going on this important journey?
It's so my mum passed in July, pretty much almost 80% of the way through my Manjaro journey, and she was brilliant with it, very supportive. I was also pretty much an unpaid carer from mum as well. She had a lot of things going on herself, and so when it happened, it was a bit of a shock. But I'm quite a control freak, and that sort of dropped a chaos bomb into my life very, very quickly. But weirdly, this journey was the only thing I could still control. And for some reason, I was absolutely adamant. I was like, I can't let this go. I was guilty of always being an emotional eater or having an excuse to eat what I shouldn't be eating. And I just thought this is going to be the thing that will derail it. And I couldn't let it happen. Through everything, like I missed one Weight Watchers group and it was the week after. But after that, I went right back and I kept attending it. The weight thing is definitely not as much of an issue as I thought it would be. I've kept it off. I've not gained since then. I've still lost. The mental side's been harder. I've got loads of other things going on with that. And my TikTok has also became a bit of accountability for that because I'm sort of sharing my grief journey, my grief process, and being really honest with it because it's something that it is going to come up. And I think emotional eating is such a trigger for so many people. And especially a situation like this, I know that it was really important for me to talk about it for my own benefit because the amount of talking I've done with my weight loss journey, I thought this can only be good therapy for me from the other side as well. It has made I've probably made for some uncomfortable viewing in some of the TikToks I've made about my mum passing, but it's been really, really helpful for me. The support's been brilliant and it's not easy. I think there's loads more triggers coming up, first Christmas and all that. I feel really proud that I've been able to keep this bit of my life controlled whilst everything else felt as if it was crashing around me. This has been the thing that's been consistent, but I needed that because I think if I let that go, I don't know. I really don't know what the outcome would have been.
Yeah, but I think it's a really brave thing talking about it online because
Yeah.
eh, as men, we tend not to talk about this stuff.
Mm.
We keep it to ourselves, we bottle it up, and I think by you sharing it will make it easier for other
Yeah.
people maybe to deal with grief like this as well, and kind of say it's okay to talk about it. It's okay that this is
Hmm.
tough. I'm struggling. So I think it's a powerful thing to see. So I think you should be proud of taking that step. Um,
Thanks, mate. Because I think as well, with the grief side of it, when life does get in the way, and I think TikTok is one of those places where everything's positive. It's all the shiny stuff. And I love a good bit of funny video and all that, but I think it's also important, especially for people on a weight loss journey, to see that it isn't always perfect. The medication isn't a cure. It's not going to just come off. You need to do some work. You're going to have rubbish weeks. Like I've shared when I've gained, I've shared like when I did change to Wegovy, there's a video I've done on there where I'm just like, this is an emergency, this isn't working, I'm failing, guys, I need your help. But also from a grief point of view, there is content when I'm really upset, but it has helped me from therapy because it's not always easy to just go to like a support group or get that help. So for me, it's like I just need to get it out. But if someone heard that and it helped them, job done.
yeah. Yeah, no, look, there's no doubt in that, and it's something which I've started to do is to talk. I mean, my uh, kind of other part on TikTok is me dealing with the codeine addiction and
Yeah.
dealing with that and seeing the power of talking about it and then the power of actually talking to people on TikTok about it and sharing it and knowing that me sharing it has possibly helped others and I
Hmm.
think that's definitely the same for you. I like you're saying that it might have made for uncomfortable viewing. It didn't. The videos
Yeah.
I saw was just like this. It's so important to see that this is something that's talked about because it's not
Hmm.
it's not done enough. So no,
No,
I
I
think I
agree.
think well, yeah, just well done for doing it and yeah, yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
Um, you would show us your tattoo there for anyone watching the video because I know you got a new tattoo. Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it might be bandaged up. Oh no, it's not. It's
Yeah.
not.
It's
Yeah,
no, it's I actually just took it out of its sleeve today, but yeah, that was my mum's favourite song and it's got her ashes in the ink. So it's healing well. It's very fresh
yeah.
though, and it's a little bit tender, but it's okay.
Right. No, that's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. That's so for anyone
Yeah.
watching a video, will see it. If not, they can go to your TikTok page, which I'll put the links to,
Yeah.
Emma in the descriptions of Emma of all the podcasts. Um, so Joe, I've really enjoyed our chats. I'm trying to
Me
think, was there
too.
anything else? Like, I mean, for me, this is just getting more and more information out there, kind of making more people aware about weight loss medications, their benefits, why we take them, like our concerns as well about them, which we both have.
Yeah.
But it's just for me, you're a great guy to follow. You're a real person. And I think that's what's missing a lot of the time. I think a lot of the content
Yeah.
you might see from some people can be a bit of kind of clickbaity, kind of,
Yeah.
whereas for me, following someone who's entertaining, which you are, but
I do try.
but it's your real life, like it's real, and that's obvious.
Yeah, I mean, you need to have a bit of fun on TikTok, and absolutely, it's a really good fun platform. But what I've realised, especially with the weight loss journey, is that there's a lot of genuine people in there that just want a bit of help and a bit of support. And I think that's the community we've found now, and it's been amazing. It's been brilliant to be a part of, mate.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely, and yeah, I mean, I would have never got to meet you if it hadn't
Yeah,
been for it. So yeah, no, I'm delighted. Joe, in the future, I said I'm going to see where this podcast goes. Down the road in a few months, whatever. I'd love if we could check in and just see how your journey's continued. I think that's interesting to see the
it
long
would be good.
term.
Yeah,
Yeah,
have I went to maintenance? Did I bottle it and just stay on it? If I went to the gym yet, who knows
yeah,
what will happen
yeah,
next?
yeah. Look, it's the same with me. Look, I'm the same. Where will I be down the road?
Yeah,
Um, yeah. We'll be
same.
no, Joe. I'm confident we'll be in a good place. I'm confident we'll be in a good
So am
place.
I. It's going to
Yeah,
work. We'll either be in maintenance, we'll have found balance, we'll still be this way or less. It'll work. Well, I've got positive vibes only.
100%, 100%. Look, Joe, thank you so much for joining me. I said I will be putting the
Thank you.
links to your TikTok in all the descriptions. So thanks a million. We'll chat to you again, and sure, I'll be chatting to you on TikTok soon.
Amazing. Have a great night, Mark. Thanks again.
No worries. Thanks, Joe. Bye, bye.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
So just a big, big thank you to Paul for joining me, and an apology from me. We recorded that weeks ago, and I'd hoped to have it up much, much sooner, but I said I just haven't had the time. There's actually been a big update to Paul's journey. I'm not going to say too much on it because we'll talk about it. And we're going to have Paul back on early in January for an update to where his journey has gone. But there's been some bumps in the road for him, that's for sure. But I said we will get him back on at some stage in January to update us. Finally, I want to talk about a video which I found really interesting. It's from Train Bloom, who I've featured before on the podcast. He's an amazing, amazing guy. I love his content on Instagram. Well worth a follow if you don't already. But just this video was something I found really interesting to hear. I didn't know the answer to it. And anyone who does exercise, I think this could be very relevant to as well. So let me play it and then we'll have a chat about it.
Should cardio go before or after you lift weights? It depends, but not on what you think. Ask around and you'll hear two arguments. Doing one will ruin your lift, but the other might kill your gains. So what do you actually do? First, you have to understand that doing cardio takes energy, but so does lifting weights. So when you do cardio first, research shows that anything more than just a light warm-up ends up making your lift suffer, causing you to lift less weight for fewer reps. Or in other words, the part of your workout that matters most just got weaker. So doing cardio after seems like the obvious move. But here's where it gets tricky. Lifting weights is what's called anabolic, meaning it puts your body into build mode, where cardio is catabolic and shifts your body into breakdown mode. So doing it right after you lift can block muscle growth if you're not careful. Here's how to get the benefits of both without killing your gains. Research shows there is a tipping point where longer cardio sessions of more than 30 minutes can block muscle building signals. Shorter sessions don't appear to have the same effect, meaning a few shorter, lower intensity cardio sessions after your workouts probably aren't going to hurt your gains, as long as you're recovering well, eating enough, and getting your sleep.
So I think that's really interesting. I said I'm somebody who would mostly lift weights in the gym, but I do enjoy doing cardio. I like putting on my music and I like just zoning out and going for it. I would tend to do it after my weights because I don't have the energy sometimes after cardio to push myself on the weights. But I didn't, I suppose, properly look at it. I hadn't really heard before that going and doing cardio after lifting weights could end up kind of minimizing the gains you might have just been putting in by lifting the weights. And sometimes I do kind of a marathon cardio session after weights, and I could be doing an hour after the gym of like lifting weights in the gym. So I'm now kind of going, actually maybe, okay, let's limit it to 30 minutes. I mean, according to their research in the video, is that could end up having a negative effect on what I've just been lifting in the gym. So I'm going to take that on board. And I think that maybe limited to a 30-minute session, which is still plenty. Most days a 30-minute cardio session after lifting weights is plenty. But there has been maybe once a week where I do push it through to an hour. And I don't want to take away from what I've just been doing lifting in the gym. So that's what that'd be interesting to share. I found it really interesting. I'm going to take that information on board. Look, I think the main thing is, especially if you are on a weight loss medication, is that you get into the gym. Now, look, some people don't enjoy the gym. That's fine. Just get out and do something. Do some kind of exercise. But it's just, if you can lift weights whilst you're on Mounjaro and whilst you're keeping your protein levels high, then you're going to get yourself into good shape as you start to lower your body fat. That's what I've been really working hard on this time around. And I'm in better shape than I have ever been in my entire life. I'm 47 now, and even when I was playing rugby that was at high standard, I was not in as good shape as I am now. And that is down to lifting a lot of weights, to keeping my protein high, and keeping my calories in check, but not under eating. I said I've never gone below 2,500 calories a day, and I've lost, over 11 stone. So you don't need to starve yourself. You need to keep your protein high. And if you can, get into the gym and lift some weights. And just if you're at that stage where you're kind of going, I want to do cardio and weights, maybe put the cardio after the weights. But look, if you prefer doing your cardio first, just go for it. It's not going to, I think, make a massive difference. But if you're looking at one or the other, I think putting cardio after probably makes sense. So that's it. That's episode 3. Again, I enjoy doing these. My apologies that it's taken so long for episode 3 to come out. I will get episode 4 done much quicker. I've got 2 really interesting guests lined up for episode 4 and 5. I don't know which one's going to be on for episode 4, so I'm not going to mention them, but they're 2 really interesting people. The first 3 people I've had on for episode 1, 2, 3 have all been on weight loss medications. One of the guests I'm going to be having on has never been on weight loss medication and has done incredible stuff. The other guest was on weight loss medications, but a long time ago, back when they were kind of only starting, and has lost a huge amount of weight, has come off the medication and has kept the weight off. So 2 really interesting guests who I cannot wait to chat to. And I will get to them quicker than it has taken me for episode 3. And as mentioned, we're going to get Paul back on to give us a big update on how he's doing. So yes, thank you for being here. I enjoy doing this. It helps me. I hope it helps you. Okay. Thank you very much. Chat to you soon.